my thoughts were like the interview um with Erika Kirk and Nicki Minaj. I thought was quite interesting. Um, First of all, because Nicki Minaj has never really entered the realm of politics per se, so her turning up in politics and then at Turning Point USA's conference with Erika Kirk, it seems like the wildest place, especially for someone with Nicki Minaj's catalog.
You mean like her racy element of hip hop music?
Oh yeah, like she's got some really racy songs that I wouldn't want you know a a younger daughter to hear. You know what I mean? They would need to be older and understand like this is just a song. But and then turning up at like a Christian nationalist, ultra conservative place, espousing her beliefs, and so it's wild to me. Like why? You know what I
Well,
mean?
I mean, just for the very reason that you stated, because she's got that music the way she does, that gives her an element of cool. That
Mm,
gives her an element of appeal for her to have, made so much music about how big and hot her ass is, and so now she's a devout Christian, but she entered the stage in defense of Trump, defending these Christians in Nigeria,
mm,
allegedly. That could all be part of the dog and pony show.
mm,
But it did allow her to enter into the conversation.
yeah.
But that also gives her a certain amount of appeal. The one thing that you're saying that should not work is where her appeal comes from.
Like how do you mean?
Well, she's Nicki Minaj.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many women, white women of a certain age, that has been listening to Nicki Minaj now for at least the last 10 to 15 years are Nicki Minaj's age and slightly younger than Nicki Minaj. That's a huge voting block.
Yeah, like
And
I
not o-
I listen to her. I
e-
like a lot of her songs.
exactly. You just don't necessarily agree with her politics. So that she's doing this whole thing now. But think about all the girls that actually listened to her songs and memorized her songs and had so many raunchy club nights to Nicki Minaj's music 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were not yet a wife or a fiance or something. There's no judgment, but at this point Nicki Minaj is espousing the same politics as a large voting block of them.
Yeah, I think my problem comes from the appearance of hypocrisy. And I say the appearance because obviously I don't know Nicki Minaj personally and what her like real personal stance is on, nuanced topics, but like typically devout Christians, it's, nothing before marriage or very little before marriage and everything's buttoned up and like everything's perfect and you're modest and you're not like putting yourself out there, which seems to be the antithesis of a lot of Nicki Minaj's music. So it's just hard to reconcile for me because, like, while I understand she is a person outside of that, it's just music, but it's also her music. She's very adamant about making her music. She's not singing someone else's songs. These are songs she's writing, she's feeling, you know what I mean? So I think the hypocrisy makes it hard for me to swallow.
It doesn't necessarily make it hypocrisy because you feel like that, though. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's just say, for the sake of argument, let's give Nicki Minaj the benefit of the doubt and
Mm-hmm.
then decide whether or not this couldn't be a genuine change.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say this has nothing to do with her brother and the very delicate situation that he may be in,
Mm-hmm.
or the situation in Nigeria where the Trump allegedly dropped a bomb on to stop persecuting Christians. Let's say, let's dismiss all of that.
Mm-hmm.
and all these social gender politics that she claims to be fed up with. Um, so what you're saying is because she made this music, she could not be sitting there and genuinely changing or from her perspective evolving.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we can there's still a lot of variables in there, whether or not any of this is sincere or not.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say this is a sincere thing for the point of this argument.
Yeah.
And so it is possible that she's made this change and she feel like, let's say in the privacy of her home, she feels like she's contributed to so many a generation of women, be they black or white, having lost their way sexually
Mm-hmm.
because of the level of promiscuity in her music.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's holding herself accountable, or someone is holding her accountable for the damage that her music has done to a generation. Now, that's just one of the variables in this argument that you can't necessarily say it's a hypocrisy,
Mm-hmm.
because an outside force may be holding her accountable for that,
Mm-hmm.
or she may have reached a state of evolution and she's holding herself accountable. We just don't know.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you just listen to her, she does sound afraid.
Yeah.
There's like a hint of fear in her voice.
Yeah, and there's a couple points that she made in their interview that are like, to me, they're incongruent with the personality and character of Nicki Minaj that we had seen up to this point. Like, one of them was that, like, for, telling black children, hearing that you're proud of them, they should be proud of themselves, and, they're beautiful and strong. That, you don't want to tell them that because then it creates this exclusion for any other kids of any other color. So it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
I completely agree with you. That sounds so ridiculous, and at the same time, to me, it almost sounds like she's got a gun to her head.
right.
Um,
And
so
she parlayed that into the same thing with women, like black women wanting to be, telling themselves they're beautiful, and like, well, why aren't we just saying all women are beautiful? All women are beautiful. There shouldn't be competition. Well, and it's like, of course there shouldn't, but like parlaying that in, it it sounds really contrived, and like you said, gun to her head.
yeah, it sounds contrived. It to me, it sounds like just possibly, a hostage type situation, um, with
Yeah.
her being saying she's, those are talking points that she's got to make.
Oh yeah, because I don't think she has a problem speaking her mind for real.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't it one of those like singing competitions. Like, she was definitely giving her didn't even her and like Mariah Carey get into a tiff.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you anything about that, but
Yeah.
what I can tell you is she is very possible that somebody may have her feet to the fire on
Mhm.
this. We could go into a lot of different variables in that, or it may just be that she has her own feet to the fire.
Mhm.
Maybe she is going through a process of holding her own self accountable for what her music is done. Now that to me that's a much lower probability than the latter, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
So we can just speculate and talk about the possibilities in a real way, and not like, what's funny is when Dave Chappelle said on his comedy special, stop saying what you know for certain. Just
Yeah.
say what you think. Just say
Yeah.
what you think this might be.
I suspect.
I
I
suspect.
believe.
Yeah,
Not I know.
I know.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know if she's holding her own feet to the fire
Mm-hmm.
and saying this country has lost its way.
Mm-hmm.
This so many of our girls are OnlyFans, America was the highest earner of OnlyFans or globally this, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And so maybe Nicki Minaj feels like she is in some way, she's holding herself accountable for that. Now, that's, you can't say that that's not the case because we don't know her heart and mind. And then at this, all we can say is mathematically that's a probability.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, someone may be holding her feet to the fire, making her say what she's saying. But that same sense of nervousness or trepidation would still come across in her voice, you know, the way it's being communicated.
Yeah, she, like, I don't know. I was thinking that, you know, when I first heard it, you know, God, she's just like catering. She's starting to sound like Candace Owens, like on her way to that. And the more I think about it, and the more I like rehear it and think about the points, it just sounds like there's something making her do it or forcing. Like, it just doesn't sound. She's almost robotic.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. All her music anyway sounded like a robot. She's a she's a lyricist. So she's a wordsmith in a mathematical sense. And so to hear her talk like this with this sense of awkwardness and trepidation and lacking the bravado that we're used to hearing Nicki Minaj speak with, it feels off.
Yeah.
But there are different reasons why it could be off. One being the awkwardness of holding herself this accountable in front of the world, or two, the fear and trepidation of someone holding her feet to the fire to do this, because there is a certain degree of spiritual power associated with her or any celebrity.
One of the things she was talking about was how one of her points was that people don't think anymore. Nobody thinks for themselves. And that her audience, which are like college students, that was like Charlie Kirk's thing, is going to college campuses. So he's arguing with younger people. And this conference is all younger people. So she was complimenting them on, you know, you're here, that means you're thinking for yourself and you want something different. But to me, like, and maybe it's just the way I took it, the way I was as like, it's like a way to like, it felt like a prank.
It felt like a prank to you?
Yeah, like kind of how Stephen Colbert talks to his crowd when he's telling jokes, or even Jon Stewart, depending on, you know, who he's, you know, telling jokes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that kind of thing, like for a minute, like I was like kind of, it was puzzling.
I don't know that it sounded that way to me. I can see what you're saying now, and I'm trying to see it from your perspective. But I don't know that it sounded that way to me. Think about it like this. These guys that's been going to these college campuses, whether it was Charlie Kirk or whether it's this guy Myron, these guys are constantly telling college students, telling these college, the boys that they're stupid. They don't think for themselves.
Yeah.
So what her and Erika Kirk are taking a different fucking perspective towards the female college population. They're not telling them and attacking them and telling them that you not thinking for yourself. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You can challenge a young male in that regard. It may land or it may not land, but you can challenge them in that regard. They can't do that. You have to, the true language of women, you have to validate them. So that's what they're doing. It's just, you think whether the girls in the audience think for themselves or not, that's a different issue. But to stand there and to sit on stage and tell them you're thinking for yourself, of course, every girl in the audience is going to agree she's thinking for herself, whether she is or not. Yeah, that's right. I think for myself. Yeah. And has no idea that there's, 20 puppet strings pulling on her thinking.
Right.
She doesn't know that. You know, as far as she's concerned, she's thinking for herself. And that's the magic and blur that the average citizen lives in. They think they're thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
And so I think her and Erika Kirk is just validating that for them.
Mm-hmm. One of the other points that she made that I thought was really interesting was that she said that Christians in the U.S. are facing persecution.
Christians in the U.S.?
Yeah. They're in different ways. Is what she said. They're being persecuted in different ways, and I struggle with that one. Just like Christians here have, in terms of anything happening because of their religion, have the gravy train.
Christianity?
Yeah, Christianity in general. Not saying people
That's
don't
true.
have their own individual problems and things like that.
Yeah, but Christianity as a whole.
Yeah,
that's true. You're right. Go ahead.
It's not like, Muslims here, like people are afraid of them because they're different. They don't understand. And then 9/11 happened and that scared people. Jews have had anti-Semitism forever. People don't understand Hindu or, these other religions that aren't mainstream. But Christianity here, what do you really face as far as in terms of your religion?
Well, it's not that Christianity itself is being attacked right now. This the different time that we're going through. Religion as a whole is under attack. That is also true. Christianity in America, this is its home court advantage. It's got home court advantage here. The refs are on its side, everything. It's got everything. But at the same time, globally, religion is under attack because we're moving into this new era where everyone is, religion is under a degree of attack because, you've got so many different pseudo experts all over social media attacking religion. You've got Neil deGrasse Tyson. I saw something with Neil deGrasse Tyson attacking religion and or Christianity, and I thought that was enormously stupid for him to not understand his social responsibility as a PhD to maintain that status quo to a certain degree and not enter that conversation. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Their religion, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all these religions have flaws in them. They're not perfect.
Yeah.
And you can make that argument, or you can also make the argument that the men in these religions are flawed and not perfect.
Yeah.
And it becomes a circular argument. But at the end of the day, people need religion. It is a operating system in this physical world for most people.
Yeah.
Not everybody needs a religious operating system to function on a day-to-day basis. But that's the majority of people actually do, because if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have several billion Christians or several billion Catholics, several billion Muslims. They need that operating system.
Yeah, the Pope would have died out long ago.
The Pope, that concept would have died out long ago. That is such a medieval thing going on there. So what is its staying power?
Yeah.
What is this, the Hajj to Mecca? What is actually its staying power? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that religion, which functions as an operating system, provides them with the grounding force. So it provides them with a rudder, with a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, people that don't have enough of a will about their conscience and, right from wrong and moral values, need the church to help prop
They
that up for
need
them.
that to prop them up. They need those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's there for them.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be a certain degree of, intellectual responsibility to understand how to enter the religious conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know how to enter the conversation, then you should at least be smart enough to know you should stay the fuck out of it.
Right.
Because it's a very important, very delicate system, whether or not one or the other is your belief system.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have enough intelligence to respect those things. And so we've got so many pseudo experts with a mic in front of them now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's creating this upheaval.
Yeah.
And so to a certain degree, as ridiculous as this Nicki Minaj episode is she contributing in a positive way to grounding that belief system in a generation of college women that may put faith back in the nuclear structure? Marriages are dropping, relationships are dropping, that has got to be stabilized.
But what if the younger girls in college are too busy listening to Anaconda and have unrealistic expectations now?
Listening to who?
Anaconda.
What's that?
Nicki Minaj's song.
Man, listen. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
How do you reconcile those two?
Well, they reconcile themselves because Nicki Minaj making a song about Anaconda to so many women out there that may have not experienced an anaconda personally, they can experience that vicariously through Nicki Minaj. And so that's only going to give her a spiritual power in grounding them now. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because she has vicariously shared that experience with her whole experience with them. Mm-hmm. Her enjoying an anaconda. For all the women that haven't had access to an anaconda, Nicki Minaj, shared her experience with them, and now they're willing to listen to her politics. And so it all works out. I mean, whatever it takes to stabilize the social base of America, I'm for it. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm all for it, just to stabilize the base.
Why does it always seem like, in my personal experience, growing up and just kind of seeing things like as a kid and then older, why does it always seem like the girl, at least for the girls, like the girls that are always like really wild and like going out and getting into trouble and doing all these, wild things, are like super conservative and anti all of that as they get older? Like to give an example, this is probably really old and maybe way out there, but I remember when Real World first popped up, and when they went to San Francisco, there was this one chick, Rachel, and she was like Republican, like active, trying to be in like young Republican Party, but she also had like a wild side. It was like, are you serious? Like, or even like George W., party boy, but he's, Republican. He's maybe not a great example because he's still like a fun guy. He seems more realistic and not ultra conservative,
Yeah, no, I understand. I think I understand your question. But that conservatism does, the polarity of it is it does repress energy. Mm-hmm. Think about what was going on during the Victorian age. There's a lot of repressed energy, repressed sexual energy. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes you have to kind of you know, allow people to let off a little steam.
Mm-hmm.
That goes all the way back to ancient Rome with the Bacchus rituals.
Yeah.
And so many ancient societies had it set up in the calendar in a uniform way where you can let off some steam.
Yeah. So
Now, if you don't understand and respect us the other 360 days of the year, we're going to give you 5 days or 2 weeks or a month, however long they would do for the Bacchus rituals, um, depending on how it fell in the cycle. Um, if you don't hold off until the Bacchus rituals, we're going to throw your ass off the Tarpeian Rock.
mm-hmm.
And so that system was respected for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we don't have a uniform system because we're in a state where we have to, maybe we do, maybe we don't. We have to hold on to the old guard of Christianity because it's not a seamless transition because we've got too many microphones in front of too many people.
Yeah.
And so everybody is got an opinion with no facts, no research, and so what it's doing is it's creating all these little pockets of different understandings where you don't have a uniform collective understanding on this is how we gonna run society. You see what I mean?
Yeah.